Hey, what's going on? It's me, Gazbot. This is Action Activate. We are live, meaning we could take your comments and questions and everything, and you could argue with each other on the side. But we're not talking about Beast Morphers or even any specific Power Ranger episode, season, anything. We might be talking about things that aren't even Power Rangers, because with me, as always, of course, is
Big Dog Defender here, ready to talk to our guest of honor, Colin Bass. Welcome, sir. Thanks
welcome
for
indeed.
the show today.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked to talk to you guys.
Did you say you're a super soaker?
I said I'm super stoked and a super soaker.
Yeah, we've been wanting to have you on for a while, so it's great that we finally got it. So for those that don't know, why don't you just give the quick run? Who are you? Why are we excited to talk to you?
My name is Colin Bass. I'm the co-creator of Crimson Vision Studios. We do way too many Power Ranger fan films, and I write them and star in them.
Fair enough. But you also do other things besides Power Rangers as well, correct?
Yeah, we are in the superhero business, I guess you could say. We do Reverse Flash, Arrow Unlimited. We did Ninja Turtles. I mean, a little bit of everything. We are just big nerds that love making movies.
Awesome. Well, let me check chat real quick. Oh, they're wondering if we could turn your volume up, Colin. They're saying you're a little. It sounds okay to me. I see somebody in chat saying
fine to me, yeah.
If I don't have an easy way to do it, I think that's something Colin would have to do on his end. If people are having a trouble hearing Colin, please say so again, or let us know if it straightened itself out.
I'll lean in a little bit. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds good to me. So whatever. But Big Dog, why don't you lead us off? Because I feel like you had some stuff you wanted to start with.
I do. So thank you for getting the spiel going for those that don't know you. But assuming some people do, I know us included, what kind of sparked you going down this writing journey of all these fan films and fan series that you have? I know for me, I know you from the Power Ranger series and Reverse Flash Origin. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it all started when I was going to community college. I thought I was going to be like an English teacher or something. And then I got a job for a comic book website, and they needed some digital content, like some digital media for their YouTube. I got some like random superhero clothes at Target, and we started making videos, and I got hooked. Then that went into fan films and more fan films, and it just kept snowballing. And then now here I am, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with that, I know... Obviously, at least from what we've seen of you, a lot of it started traditional superhero, a lot of DC Arrowverse, as some people may call it, and then kind of going for Power Rangers. But in terms of kind of those properties and those interests that you have, what's kind of your kind of fandom history of what brought you from things you liked as a kid all the way till now?
Wow. All the way till now.
Your whole life.
Everything.
We got nothing but time.
Yeah.
Real quick, I am hearing that your volume sounds a bit low. So if there is a way to turn it up a little, Colin, sorry. He muted himself.
I don't really know how to do it. Hold on. I have settings. Maybe I can.
It would be like a microphone control on your computer, probably, because I don't see a way
I'm on my phone.
Oh. Well, just... I don't know. You project. Pretend you're in the theater. Pretend you're a theater actor.
Okay. I'll enunciate.
There you go.
Yeah. So whoever's listening, I hope this is better. I'll speak louder if not. My mom always says that I came out of the womb excited about superheroes ever since I was a baby. I just always was drawn to them. But really weird kid that liked Robin more than Batman. And that was something that kind of made me realize that, like, man, I'm not like everyone else. My mom was always like, why do you like Robin better? And I'm like, because he doesn't follow Batman's rules and he does this and he's like a cool kid, like I liked him for all these weird reasons. And then the first fan film thing I ever did was playing Robin and Nightwing in a Young Justice fan film.
Well, I was just going to ask, who's your favorite Robin? Is it Tim Drake? I mean, I'm sorry, it's Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson for sure. Yeah, Dick Grayson's my favorite, and Nightwing is one of my all-time favorite DC heroes. But then that went into a Nightwing series with Nerdbot, and then that never went anywhere. And then that turned into Reverse Flash Origins, and then we just dove into the Arrowverse because the costumes were readily available. It was more doable. We had something that we could kind of go off of. And then it was just Arrowverse. And then Morphicon 2018 changed my life, and now I'm doing way too many Power Ranger fan films, but I love it.
What happened at Morphicon 2018, though, specifically?
It was the fan film contest, and Blurred Vision was there with his Unworthy crew. And I had known Blurred because he did a Kid Flash short when I was doing Reverse Flash, and we were like talking about our projects a lot together. And I saw Unworthy episode 1 on the big screen. They won the fan film competition, and all I could think is, man, I want to do this because I've loved Power Rangers since '93, and I've like dipped in and out, but the Disney era is my favorite.
Right.
And I'm watching Unworthy, and I'm just so inspired and moved. But I was like, man, I don't want to do like the tights and rubber monsters. I want to just, because I always thought the seasons that were the best in Power Rangers were when the story and the characters were good outside of the tights and suits.
Agreed.
And,
Agreed.
you know, monsters. So Ninja Storm.
Do you think
there's ninjas,
because of that? Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I was gonna say, do you think because of that we see Sam so much out of costume versus in? Kind of talking about specifically for Shattered Past.
Yeah, and I hadn't had the suit yet, but it's ordered, so I'll probably be in my suit next episode. But
I'm
yeah,
actually okay with you not being in the suit in that series because you have I love how like the pieces of the suit appear when you need them. I kind of like that you're almost like at a glance you just look civilian, but you're like more powerful than a regular Ranger even in that role. Like it's awesome.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I liked it too. And then the Omega Ranger toy was coming out, and I was repping it. I'm like, yeah, this toy's coming out. I play him, kind of, you know.
Big Dog was saying how he was more excited because of you, and me too, to be honest.
In all honesty, like I mean, knowing me, I'm probably gonna get it, but I'm gonna get it sooner because of you. So thank you for that, for making me excited for a Ranger that traditionally, I mean, Gazbot hasn't seen SPD, but
I was just gonna say, my shame is I haven't seen SPD and I haven't seen Mystic Force, so I have no connection to the Omega Ranger except for you. So in my mind, that figure is you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When I see the official season, that'll be the new guy. You know what I mean? You're the original.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So you only see him demorphed once, and it's in the season finale. So that was one of the reasons why I wrote myself as him. But on my post where I'm like, yeah, my toy's coming out, just like, I don't really think I'm the Omega Ranger, but I like the idea of pretending. Sure. And like 3 dudes come on, they're like, it doesn't count, you haven't morphed yet. You like, it would make more sense if you actually morphed. I don't think this applies, you haven't morphed yet. And I was like, all right, I better order this suit. These guys are right. So
you know what? That kind of makes you a legit Ranger because you know Michael Lasky, who played the young Rocky. He gets people all the time saying you weren't a Red Ranger because you didn't morph. You weren't a Red Ranger, like even though he was on the show and did martial arts, he wasn't a real Ranger. Right. So now you are also a real Ranger because people are telling you you don't count because you didn't have the helmet on.
Yeah. Well, it's time. The suit's being made, and I'm stoked. That first helmetless picture where I'm like Omega Ranger.
Yeah,
I'm just so happy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so then when I was watching the Unworthy thing, I was thinking what show would be cool outside of the Power Rangers aspect. So ninjas and elements and everything. Then I came up with first ninja who founded the Win Ninja Academy, and the rest is history. Shattered Past was kind of a happy accident, and Rise of the Ninja was created because we started working with William Schufelt. So, and then Bloodline happened because they casted me off of Shattered Past. So I'm just kind of bouncing all over the morphing grid.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask about that with William Schufelt. You didn't know when you did First Ninja that you'd end up working with him and doing Rise of the Ninja, I'm assuming. So when
not at all.
But when you did it with him, did you like once? I guess I should back up. How did you meet him and how did he get involved? Because that was a pretty big get. Not that your stuff wasn't good, but to get an actual Ranger actor to reprise their actual Ranger role with a ninja theme was like pretty perfect for what you were doing. So how'd that even happen?
Yeah. No, Will and I talk about all the time how it feels like meant to be. We became really good friends throughout all of this, but it was ATO Worldwide who did our theme song for Shattered Past.
Excellent music too.
Oh, thank you. He'll love to hear that. Yeah. So he did a recording session with Will and invited Sean and me down. Sean's my business partner. He directs and films and edits. And we go down, and Will and I are just off in the corner, just kind of hitting it off because we have a lot of different Ranger stories, me from conventions, him from being a real Ranger.
Right.
And then after that meeting, it was just a really good vibe, and we took pictures, and then I headed out, and he calls me a couple of days later, and he's like, hey man, do you want to meet up and talk about how we could work together? And I was like, hell yeah, dude. So we meet in this midpoint between our houses, and we both come up with Rise of the Ninja together. He's like, what if Brody continues his training? And I'm like, what if we unite all of the different Ninja Ranger seasons?
Yeah.
Like, but we need a hook character that will bring people in. And I was like, Ninjor. And then Unworthy had happened to make that Ninjor suit. So I rented it from them, and it just all goes together. And then Rise did really well on the teaser with Ninjor. And Will was like, I want to keep this going. And I was like, well, I don't have the suit anymore, but I could be Jackson Brooks, an older version. I have that suit and like all the accessories. And then so we wrote episode 1. We did some teasers, and now we have Jessica Ray joining us from Wild Force. We're
Right.
filming this weekend.
And is that
Oh,
gonna
nice.
what series is she gonna be in, or is she get a new series?
She will be still Alyssa from Wild Force, but it'll explain what she's doing with all these ninjas and like how
So
she got
is she
there.
gonna be in Rise of the Ninja though, or is she gonna be in First
Yeah.
Ninja? Oh, okay,
She'll be in Rise of the Ninja with us.
gotcha. That's
So
awesome.
my question with Rise of the Ninja specifically, when you came about with that series, was it something of here are all the different seasons or rangers I want to draw through, and let's see who we could reach out to get it to happen? Or was it something that, based on the interest you were able to get from certain people to reprise roles or even fill new roles, that's what kind of drove the story kind of behind the scenes? Which of those?
It was honestly Will getting involved that made me think like my favorite crossovers or Power Ranger episodes are when they touch base or do crossovers on different seasons.
Sure.
And I always thought it was interesting. Like, yeah, we just had that Dino.
Uh-oh. Colin just dropped off. Big Dog, are you still hearing him?
I'm still here. I don't hear anything currently.
Oh, okay,
though.
you were still smiling like you were hearing him. I don't see or hear Colin. Do you?
I do not. Hang on.
Well, what he was going to say, they just had the
Evox
Dino
crazy
crossover in Beast
Yes.
Morphers. Where did it say that?
Hang
Well,
on.
let's catch up on chat. Yeah, actually, so question. So with the inclusion of Psycho Green and Shadow Pass, will it be possible to see more non-TV Rangers? That would actually probably be better if he was still here. Are you contacting
I'm
him?
messaging right now. So
Okay.
while we're waiting for Colin to get back, obviously we can't answer the questions for him
Right.
for some of those series, but in regards to
So this one I could answer.
Oh, go for it.
Matt is wondering if I could remember how to answer one of our regulars' names or pronounce it. And I remember it was phonetically spelled out for me as Kiran. So I think it might be more like Kiran or something, but I will say Kiran because that's how it was pronounced. So I do remember it because it's only one day later.
I saw that too, and I wanted to potentially take the thunder from you, but with the Thunder Academy being talked about later on, I don't want to steal
stick
the
with the
thunder
lightning.
too prematurely.
Looks like Colin is coming back right now. Let me
He
add him.
is.
There he is.
Like I said,
Hey, there he is.
We got you. You're back.
Hey.
Sorry, I got a FaceTime and my whole iPhone just went boop. So sorry about that.
No worries, man. So
But,
I was going to say the last thing we heard was you talking about working with William, and then boom, go for it.
Oh yeah, so then we were talking about my favorite seasons and crossovers are where they touch base on crossing different seasons and making sense. And I knew we were going to have the big Dino crossover coming this year with Beast Morphers. And I was like, why didn't they ever do that with ninjas? Let alone explain that the Alien Rangers have like a ninja-esque aspect, which I included in first.
I love that throwaway line in there. That's something like it's your videos make it harder to watch regular Power Rangers sometimes. Does that make sense?
For real.
Because like you do think, and obviously they're shorter and it's more budget or whatever, but like the care you put into certain things like that, like if you watch our reviews, so often we're like, this episode's good or great or bad, but like this doesn't make sense, or they didn't reference this, and they could just have a line. They don't have to film a scene or just have a line that kind of explains it. And so when you were talking about the Alien Rangers being the Ninja Rangers, I'm like, I didn't really think they were Ninja Rangers. Like, and most people didn't even know there were Ninja Rangers on your planet. I'm like, oh, that explains it perfect. And I was like,
yes.
I love it. Ninja Steel, he did it,
Yep.
Man, I knew you guys were going to catch everything I put in. That's why I love talking about it. That is so cool. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm telling this to Will, who, bless his heart, doesn't really know much about anything other than his season, which is no harm on him. But I'm like, listen, man, there's all these ninjas scattered throughout the Power Rangers mythos. What if you're the connection and you collect these different powers and blah, blah, blah? So it all kind of happened based off Will, and I thought it'd be really interesting if the last Red Ninja Ranger that we know of is the connection between all of these. Then the trouble was figuring out who the bad guy should be. And that was tough. But we decided on Daishi because the name recognition and the fact that at the very end, you don't like he gets beaten, but he's all about possessing different bodies and stuff. So we could get away with that without having a big 8-headed dragon to fight. You know?
Now, I do have a question. My favorite season is Jungle Fury. So the fact that
Ooh.
you're including Daishi is exciting, but I'm like, is there going to be anything else? Some masters showing up, or any other little Or do you
Yeah,
need
it's
maybe
gonna
a
be.
middle-aged guy that doesn't live anywhere near you to be a Jungle Fury Ranger? Because I have the
Yeah.
tattoo ready to go if you need it.
Oh, I'll see you in the spirit world, dude.
There you go.
No, so I wrote the character for Daishi and who he takes over, and she is a member of like the Order of the Claw, kind of like an exiled student, kind of like the first ninja. So you'll
Right.
see her in like some Order of the Claw swag, and she's
Nice.
mad at the masters and stuff, and that's why she chooses to release Daishi. So there's definitely going to be callbacks, and the thing about Wild Force and Jungle Fury is that they're not ninjas, but it's still really martial arts based with Alyssa's character. She trained with her dad a lot, and then also Jungle Fury is like not ninja, but it's definitely has some of those themes with those gis and stuff that they wear.
Yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
going to bring that in a very toned down way amongst all the other ninja stuff we have planned.
That's
so yes,
awesome.
but I love Jungle Fury too. My favorite theme song for sure. And I read the whole wiki and rewatched some episodes, so I'm definitely going to milk what I can from Jungle Fury into Rise.
Nice. Well, that makes me personally happy. There was a question we got when you were gone. Let me throw up here. Kieran Porter was wondering, with the inclusion of Psycho Green in Shadow Path, will it be possible to see more non-TV Rangers? Because he's from the comics, so
yeah, I think so. We have plans for Draken, obviously. This next episode, we don't even come in contact with the Psycho Green Ranger because he's on his own thing, you'll see. But the enemy we run into, it's going to be really scary for the time, bros. I wrote it and I sent it to Dade, who plays Landon Tate, and also Sean, our director. And they're like, "You sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "I do. We got to up the stakes. We got to up the ante." So it's going to be really gnarly. But I love what Boom's doing with the comics. So if I have access to the right actors or the right gear or clothing or weapons or anything, I'll totally include it. We have a Common Rider reference in Shattered Past episode 2. So now I'm looking for a Common Rider cosplay or something.
Would it be Common Rider or would it be Masked Rider?
I think it would be Common Rider. I'm no expert, but the guy that did the graphics on it, he was like, "Trust me, the fans will love it." And then I read up on the whole show, and I was like, "These could be linked to Common Rider."
Common Rider is definitely like the cooler version, but Masked Rider was like the American cheesy version with the same suit. So that's why I was wondering which way you were gonna go.
Oh, maybe it is Masked Rider then. See, I'm not really sure. He just pitched this idea to me how the intelligence or something is still in our world, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great. I think the fans will dig it." But I want to watch Masked Rider and Common Rider. I need to get involved in that.
We did some Masked Rider views. It doesn't hold up that well. Let's just say that.
It's awful. It's just bad. If you want a good laugh and to still kind of be in your genre but laugh, with it and at it, I would recommend watching the Mighty Morphin backdoor pilot to Masked Rider. It's the lines alone we still quote, and I've even got some of my coworkers to quote it, and they have zero interest in
on a planet under the Cape of War. That is our favorite quote. We say that all the time. But that crossover with Power Rangers is much more serious than the actual Masked Rider show. Put it this way: you could easily put in some little Easter egg jokes if you want it to be Masked Rider versus Common Rider, I guess is the big.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna pull out of that hat later when the graphic designer pitched it to me. I was like, "Man, that'd be cool for an episode. Get lost in some other franchise for an episode." That'd be cool.
Sure.
Staying in the kind of Toku verse or American Toku verse with this, I know you had mentioned for some of the things you want to do, costumes, budget, things like that. If costumes and budget were just like you asked for it came, what either Power Ranger character or Kamen Rider character or Ultraman or whatever would you want to throw in just because you think it looks so cool or have always wanted to work on, that kind of costume or character, things like that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Can I do 2?
Yes.
2.
Okay. I got to do one for me being selfish. I really, really want the Ninja Storm Red Battleizer. It's my favorite Battleizer.
Okay.
So I want to be the big, like, 6-pack poke together. And then for the show, I would love Mesogog to have that like actual
Oh,
like stage
yeah.
makeup and everything, the real actor. Oh my gosh, because Mesogog was always one of my favorite villains. He's also just scary, and he beat Lothor pretty easily, turned him into a toy or whatever. So yeah, for the show itself, I'd choose like a Mesogog type villain because
That'd be awesome.
so cool and
I saw
scary.
a guy at Ranger Stop. I forget if it was last year or the year before. That had it was just like a cosplayer that had a Mesogog suit that was really good. Like it had the opening mouth and everything. So there's somebody out there that has a Mesogog suit. If you're watching this, get in touch because maybe they got a part. Yeah. Well, I had a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I loved how Mesogog talked too. He's like, "We'll get them next time."
Very breathy.
Yeah. It was like he was seducing you to death. I had a similar question to Big Dog, but mine was more based in reality. In that you have two Ranger actors that from the series that are working with you now. Other than them, if you had a dream pick of one Ranger actor, good, evil, civilian, mentor, anybody from all of the seasons, who would your like number one dream pick be to get to be involved?
Well, it's a big dream, but he's like pretty anti Power Rangers, but he's my favorite Ranger. Connor McKnight's character, James Napier, I think his name is. Love that guy. I always thought he was a good actor. Loved his character development. But that one's, I mean, this is a dream scenario. But I had a really cool talk with my fictional son, Glenn McMillan, who plays Dustin Brooks.
Yeah.
And he was so cool and so nice and like accepted that I was his dad and stuff. So that would be my top choice, but I need an honorable mention for James Napier. But yeah, to have like a cool father-son moment. I don't want all my shows to be time travel, so I have this way that we're kind of bridging the ninja seasons together without time travel. And
so sort of astral projection or something.
Awesome. Exactly. It's like Avatar Spirit World kind of thing.
And that makes sense for Ninja Storm. That makes perfect sense. Again, you're making connections that make sense.
So I would love to have a scene where I'm like, son, I may not be here, but you've made me proud, because Jackson, God knows where he is by the time Ninja Storm comes around. I do have a plan for that, though, by the way, but can't tell you. But yeah, so Glenn McMillan would be amazing. And then I also have to say, like, all of my childhood crushes of the Pink and Yellow Rangers too.
Right. Well, so what I'm hearing is that basically Glenn McMillan is the actual choice for making the show and the series better. All the others are just things that you think would be cool.
Yes, that's fanboy me thinking, but like, story writer, series creator, Glenn would make it really, really cool.
Yeah, I agree. He was at Ranger Stop last time too. He seemed to be having a really good, I think it was his first convention, and he was like, because he's like a lawyer now or something, I think.
Yeah, he was surprised on like how passionate everyone and how much people love Dustin. He was just like, I had no idea, and so now he's just all about it. I mean, he's doing smaller interviews with smaller people too, and just kind of repping the Ranger thing again, which is super refreshing.
One of the interviews, I forget, it was with Morphin Network, but I saw it posted. I don't know if it was on your page somewhere, but it was basically like, look, an interview with my dad or I mean his son rather. Yeah, I thought that's pretty a fun way to advertise it.
So they introduced me, and he had seen First Ninja, and he was like, yeah, I've seen it around, and I was told that you're playing my father, and I watched it, and I said, you know what? This guy's a good looking guy. I'd be honored for this guy to be my dad. And I was
like, that's fantastic.
That is great. So you had mentioned something earlier that the Disney era is your go-to. That's some of your favorite seasons. On Action Activate, we actually have quite the contentious opinion on one Disney season. Now, Gazbot, please don't put any clips. We need to keep this unbiased while the question is still being formed. What is your honest opinion on Operation Overdrive?
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Dang it! Oh,
yes,
when you said Disney era and one certain season and kind of in a negative way, I was like,
Operation Overdrive. I was neutral, man. I came in as neutral as I could be, but it sounds like it's a little negative on your end. What could possibly bring these feelings?
Well, I was going to say the good things about it. I loved the powers outside the suits. I loved once a Ranger, always a Ranger.
Yep.
And I thought the treasure hunting was a cool aspect. And Sentinel Knight was cool, and I think that's all I got for you guys.
We didn't make it through a full hand, but we got dang close.
Yeah,
I
I don't know. If I go back and think about that season, there's no character that I genuinely liked except the Butler. The Butler's cool.
Butler's
Yeah.
great. I haven't seen the entire season. I've only seen parts of it, but I actually like the villains in that season a lot. The fire and the ice. Because I like villains where you can see part of the actor's face. I enjoy that, like for a head villain. And I am a big fan of those old Christmas specials, the Rankin Bass with the Heat Miser and the Cold Miser, and it's them.
I'm Mr. White Christmas.
Yeah. So I like those villains. That's my favorite part. But I agree, the Butler's good too.
The
We have
Fear
questions in
Tigers were cool too. What were they called? The Fear Tigers? What were they called? Fear Cats? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I
They're
don't
like the
remember.
two villains, and they were like really dope, stealthy looking cats.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember what they're called.
Okay, so I think I made a full hand.
There you go. There's a couple questions in chat. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick before I don't want to get to the end and nobody gets their questions answered. Where is it? We got one from Geek Press. Who'd win in a 1v1, Colin's Ranger or Will's Ranger? Sorry.
Okay. I would also like to say that the Geek Press is the person that FaceTimed me and ruined the connection to the interview.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that.
I think Will's Ranger's got it, man. He's got, from what I've seen in Ninja Steel, he's got like 2 power-ups and a battleizer. I'm done for. I just got one.
You've even said you don't have a battleizer specifically, so
I think Will's got it.
There you go.
And Will has like an 8-pack, and I'm rocking a dad bod. So.
No, but you got that leather shoe. We don't know what's underneath. You're fine. Let's see. There's a guy. I saw another one.
There was while you're looking for a question, just a quick comment. I saw on a panel for CW shows, I was years ago, that there was a crossover panel between Arrow and Supernatural, and they were asking Stephen Amell what do you got to do to get in shape? Oh, I do this diet. Oh, I do this, and they're like, Supernatural guys, what do you do? Like, we're usually in Canada, so we get to wear like 4 layers. We're eating whatever we want, and he just like shook his head and was so frustrated because the first couple seasons just always oiled up and just doing pull-ups all right, what do we got to do, guys? And that made me think of it with the 8-pack comparison there.
I threw up a couple comments, but more comments than questions, so we don't need to stop for that. Big Doug, did you want? We're talking about Rangers a lot, and we are a Ranger show, and that's cool. But did you want to talk about any of the DC stuff or any of the other stuff before? Because I know you watched a lot of that.
I did, yeah. So with Reverse Flash Origins specifically, I saw the live stream you did with the Q&A and everything, and from the journey of writing the first episode all the way up, I'm sure there's some tweaks you're doing to the finale now. Was there one specific aha moment where something really clicked for you and then it just rippled into kind of all of the story elements that we got to see on screen?
Yeah, it was episode 3. I think I just got braver with my writing and just kind of had more faith in myself as an actor and the cast and crew. But at the very end of episode 3, Eobard sees Jane for the first time in a long time, and she some time travel wibbly wobbly stuff, and she's just like, no, you're a monster, I've already seen you be a monster, you're evil. And I was like, man, I should have played with more time in episodes 1 and 2 to make it more interesting and follow this path where we know it's going to end up them being evil. But once I hit 3 on that, I was like, man, I can do alternate timelines and have the craziest cameos that a fan series could ever have, and do whatever I want, and then just I always have to end up being evil. So I got more brave right after that happened in 3, and then 4, 5, 6 is just a crazy time travel. Like, if you pay attention, it all connects back to that moment in 3. Like at the very end of, or at the middle of Ep 6, the finale, Bart's like, "Don't worry, she's safe in 2180. I told her this," and his exact quote is what.
Then it jumps back
in episode 3. So I think that was the minute that, as a writer, my brain kind of clicked on what this show needs, since we don't have $1 million an episode. So that was one thing. But then for this finale, I'm dealing with more scheduling and casting issues, just because it's been so long. People have moved away, and I don't really know what to do with that. But I've had this plan for, I think, since episode 1, we've always had this vision of how we want to end it, like kind of how Smallville had that ending scene that Tom knew since season 1. That's how I've felt since episode 1. So to answer your question, 3 is when my brain clicked on how I wanted to do all this. And then me talking to myself at 5 was really helpful too, because I just drove the story along and saved a lot of time and effort and money. And then now we're heading towards the finale, and it's like all these things that I've been lining up is all coming to this finale moment that people have seen the repercussions of in the CW. So I hope that answers your question. It was really that moment in 3, but I'm learning as we go what I can do with what I got.
Yeah, no, that answered it perfectly. And I want to commend you for definitely shows and movies that choose to do time travel and different timelines and continuity and stuff. I really want to commend you on how you made everything make sense. You found a good balance between explaining things within the story for those that may be slightly confused, but not dumbing it down on being like, wait a minute, you are here, but you made it flow very naturally, and you didn't have to, babysit the audience on, no, this goes here and this, it all tied together well. And I, as a viewer, I really appreciated that, of really trusting me to know what's going on, as opposed to trying to overly cater to, okay, here's this giant map, please follow it and let's go. So that was really awesome for me.
I really appreciate that, man. I think I played it too safe in 1 and 2 and got brave with the rest of it and trusted the audience to, understand it, and they did. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Gaz, I know you were popping some comments up.
Just people calling for more Green Ranger, and a Psycho Green Ranger.
I think he's watching right now.
Oh, there you go. There's
right now your favorite, buddy.
And then
so for Psycho Green specifically, it brings up a good. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Sorry, I was gonna say we got another question from your buddies at Geek Press. Do you find it hard not to break when you're acting out superpowers in the actual shoot when the visual effects aren't added? So are you break a character a lot on set? Is that what I'm hearing here?
No, I think I do a lot of what I call mirror acting. So I make sure I look cool before I do it. Like you should have seen me the first time I did the power of air, like my morph and stuff, every day in my mirror. I'm just like, how's this looking? And I'd send videos to Sean and stuff. But no, I don't break. But during Bloodline, me and the Nova Ranger are gonna morph, right? So we go to morph, and I made up a morph because there's no morph for those Rangers. So I do my morph. And I'm like, so this is what it's going to look like. And the DP's holding the camera at me. And I'm like, ready, SPD, emergency. And then the DP, oh my God. He just starts cracking up at us. So then I started laughing too. And I was like, hey, you can't laugh because we're trying to make this serious. So that was one time. But other time I get all my silliness out with watching myself in the mirror and trying to look as least stupid as I can.
Right. Big Doug, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say for Psycho Green and with the Omega Ranger, you touched upon it before, of the Lightning collection coming out with those figures. Do you collect, toys, comics, things like that yourself? And if so, what are some of the collections that you have?
Well, I make a rule. I will only collect a certain, because I would have way too much stuff because I want everything. But I made a rule where I'll get one collectible per character that I portray in a video. So the way I see it is okay, so I have one, I got the figure, I think it's called Figure Arts Ninja Storm Red, and then
very nice.
A Reverse Flash toy, and then Green Arrow, things that I've
played. They're almost like you're unlocking achievements.
Yeah, exactly.
Any toy you want, you have to make a film of, and then boom, you get a little trophy. Boy, I wish I should start making movies because I have way too many toys.
Yeah, I was going to commend
you. A lot of characters.
I commend you on that. The first sentence you said is literally the opposite of how I collect in my life. So really good job keeping everything honed in, because you're like, yeah, just one of each thing. For sure. Yeah, I do that too, man. I definitely don't, sometimes buy 2 because I might, convince myself to get it signed at, Power Morphicon 21. Yeah, who knows? But that's awesome. So with that, are you kind of anticipating, fingers crossed, that they're going to do the Ninja Storm Red in that same scale, just so you got all your guys lined up in scale? Because I know for me, that's something that would, slightly bother me, the difference in height, if I'm the same person.
Well, I keep them all in packages. I'm just zero fun as a collector. But in in my head, it's like I have this one little shelf of like the 3 characters that I've played the most, really. Reverse Flash, Ninja Storm Red, and Green Arrow. And then what I have this weird dream in my head where I'm an old man, I've been acting for a while, and my grandkid's on my lap or something, and I'm like, you want to see Grandpa? And I like pull out the toy and I play the video. And like that's like a dream I have.
And then
So
they
in
want
my
to
head,
play
I'm
with
like,
the toy, and you have it.
yeah. They're like, that's Grandpa. Look, it's Grandpa, you know. And so it also keeps me humble and modest in my collection because I am so eager to buy stuff at cons too, especially like limited edition stuff. But I will probably splurge and get a I mean, I already ordered the Mega Ranger, but I definitely need a Time Force Red with Dade's head on it because the Time Bros is like my new favorite duo. So I'll probably splurge and have those guys together posing.
Awesome. That
Nice.
that is good. And then if somebody sends you over a Saba, you can throw that with your Omega and just make it your own even more so.
Someone at a panel for Shattered Past, they gave me a necklace with a Saba on it. That's like to scale for a
that's
toy.
cool.
So I'll probably throw that in Omega Ranger's hand for sure.
That's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's great. Go for it, man.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of conventions, assuming the world is normal at that time, are you planning on attending our Morphicon or any other cons coming up? Yes, just yes.
Oh yeah. I am in the boat right now where I like regret the cons I didn't do. I regret the videos I didn't do. Like I'm just in this state of just wanting to make up for lost time because we've been on lockdown. Like even when it comes to seeing friends and family, I'm just anyone that in a safe scenario, I'm like, yes, let's do it. Yes. I wish I would have not even taken advantage. I wish I would have appreciated it more when the world was normal. Right. And now, you know, post or mid quarantine, Colin is just like, I'm going to say yes to every con that wants me there. I'm going to go. I'm going to try the panels. I'm going to meet everyone that wants to meet me, like all these different things. I'm just really going to, you know, appreciate the world as I totally took advantage of it, you know, before things were on lockdown.
Right. You're going to live even fuller once you're free.
Yes, and Morphicon, I'm going to be there.
Are you going to have like a fan table and do panels, or are you just going to go and have fun?
I will try. I think we have an in for some panels, either a fan film panel or something for Crimson Vision. But I love panels and I love playing our videos. The table thing I've done quite a few times, and I just kind of feel like stuck back there. And I'm really not trying to sell pictures of myself. I really like people to get their eyes on our work. Sure, you know, that's my goal at these things. And also just networking is so much fun at these after parties or hotel parties. I love going there and meeting like-minded people. Like talking to you guys over a beer would be so much fun. We can nerd out and have, you know, the party vibes there.
Well, theoretically, we should be there too. So hopefully that'll happen in real life.
Yeah. Assuming we're all there, we won't hold you to it. But that sounds good on my end as well. I would happily share a drink with you, man. So con question. So outside of Morphicon, just because there's an easy out there, if you go to, let's say, a Wizard World, an LA Comic-Con, something like that, and you're walking around in one of the suits of a character of yours, what's going to be your go-to if you only get one?
Man, you know, I've kind of given up on the dressing up at cons, but I'll do it to like promote the series really. But the last time I did it was for Anime Pasadena, and it's my favorite suit that I wear and the most comfortable, and I think the most flattering. It's my Win Ninja Academy suit. Okay. And it's not very recognizable, but the real fans know, oh, that's the Ninja Storm Win Ninja Academy suit, and then it's a good conversation starter. So me and everyone on the panel for First Ninja that had the ninja suits, we all wore it, and DJ wore, you know, a Samurai Star shirt, and we all had our morphers, and we all morphed at the end. And that's the kind of thing that I would dress up for, you know, real fan service. Right. There was definitely the Jackson Brooks suit, not the tights, the leather.
Good.
Oh, I was going to say, I love your Ranger suits, but I'm not going to lie. The more that I heard you say your love of Nightwing made me really see how inspired the Black Condor suit was with that. So well done with the little nod in there. Because I love Nightwing as well. I love Nightwing. I love Connor Kent. Those are two of my favorite DC characters along with Kyle Rayner. So seeing that in a original character and having that homage was just awesome.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
So it kind of happened on accident because Black Condor was just kind of this idea, and I wasn't going to suit up. And then Elvin, the producer of the owner of Nerdbot and producer of Arrow Unlimited, he was like, "We gotta suit you up, dude. We gotta make a custom suit for Black Condor." And I was like, "Okay." So we kind of pieced it together. And then at my job, there was a seamstress there, that like pattern maker. And I was like, "I need like kind of like a subtle bird on my chest by this weekend. Can you do it?" And she's like, "Yeah, can you like draw it up for me?" And I kind of like made like a V bird, and I was like, "But it can't look like this." And I gave her all the Nightwing symbols. I was like, "Do not make anything look like the Nightwing symbols." And then I get it that Friday. We're filming on Saturday, and I was like, "Well, here we go." So, but it does pay homage to Nightwing, and I have like a staff and stuff. But yeah, it worked out because a lot of people are like, "Yellow Nightwing," but it's really just it was like a last minute thing that kind of turned into a cool custom suit. So I'm really happy with it. I'm glad you appreciate it too.
Oh yeah, don't think otherwise. That thing's awesome, and any naysayers can politely mute their comment.
Speaking of comments, we have a weird question. I'm guessing this is maybe somebody you know, because I don't even understand this. But Elvin says, "Has Colin ever thought of dyeing his beard to match his hair color?" I feel like someone's trolling me, but I want to know why. So
okay, so we're filming Rise this weekend, right? And I'm going to be on screen with 2 real Rangers.
Mhm.
And I messaged Elvin, a very good friend of mine, owner of Nerdbot and producer of a lot of our shows.
Right.
And I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, would it be weird if I dyed my beard to match my hair for Rise? Because I'm going to be on screen with like 2 real Rangers. I want to look as good as possible. Because my beard's really red and my hair's brown." And then he was like, "No, dude, do it. Get in the character." So that's totally him trolling me. So,
but you are going to actually dye your...
There,
That's
just for men. There we go.
Thank you for that question. It was up there for a while, and honestly, I was hesitating. I'm like, I don't know if this is just somebody being mean or, but
No,
excellent. Another probably an easier question is Nerdy Latino wants to know Shattered past episode 3, which I'm sure you're getting asked a lot, but
ooh,
I mean, 2 just 5 days ago.
Yeah, that one was in post production for like 6 months, so I can understand why people are eager to see Ep 3.
Right.
Ep 3 is completely written. I'm just waiting on. Oh, this is kind of a spoiler, but I'll tell you guys because you guys are the homies. I got a new White Ranger undersuit because we're gonna be debuting an evil White Ranger. Draken.
That's awesome.
So I'm waiting on that.
Awesome.
My Omega suit's on the way, and then I ordered a like fat crystal that looks like a Zeo crystal because we gotta remember at the very end.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Colin's frozen again. Well, he's referencing at the end of the last episode that the whispered.
And,
oh, is he coming back?
There he is.
You glitched out. You were saying at the end of the episode they talked about having to get the Zeo crystals, and that was the last thing we heard.
Yeah, so the only thing we're really waiting on is scheduling and the stuff we ordered for the next episode, but it's all written, it's approved by our director, and we had to do some new castings. We're finally bringing in a girl, so I'm excited for some girl power in there.
Does Shattered Past generally take longer per episode to produce than First Ninja or Rise?
No, I think Rise is our fastest because it's just been Will and me, but Rise is probably going to be one of our bigger ones because the cast, once we get into the full episode, the cast is pretty big.
Yeah.
And then First Ninja probably takes the longest because it is our biggest cast and there's lots of costumes and we dedicate a whole weekend and then pick up shots to it. Shattered Past was supposed to be our easy project where we just come down, knock it out, no one really morphs, and then it's turned into
there's a lot of effects there.
Like our number one video. Yeah, a lot of effects, and it turned into this huge thing. Now it's our number one video, and I'm like, what about my baby First Ninja?
I mean, I feel bad saying this, but Shattered Past is my favorite of the 3. But I'm a sucker for time travel, so that already kind of hooked me in there. And I'll say this also: Ninja Storm is not one of my favorite seasons. It's I don't hate it, but it's like in the bottom half of the seasons for me. I kind of like your version better, like because I like all the Academy stuff, and like I think it suffers a little bit from the wacky teenage antics. Not as bad as some seasons, but honestly, I really dislike Lothar. Is it Lothar or Lothar? Lothar. Thank you. As a villain, he's one of my least favorite villains ever. Because I just never found him threatening. And then he, I love the idea that he had his nieces ended up being like masterminds, but that wasn't until like the end of the season. So we basically had 3 idiots that I never found threatening. So even though I liked the Rangers, I was always like, they're going to be fine, you know. So with yours, it sort of took the good parts and took out. I'm just kissing your butt now, but it's more about how you. And if you did Jungle Fury, I'd be like, it's great, I love Jungle Fury. But you took a season that I didn't particularly like and made me care about it. So even though I'm saying Shattered Pass is my favorite, the fact that I like First Ninja as much as I do is a tribute to how good a job you did.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem. You deserve it.
That's how I feel about Omega Ranger, honestly, because so Gazbot does not like being spoiled. Not that people do like being spoiled. He particularly doesn't. So I'm going to be very vague in saying
I think I know the spoiler.
Omega Ranger by no means is a Ranger in my top tier, but you made him like very likable and gave him like literally just by showing your face, you're like, hi, I'm the Omega Ranger. I'm like, wow, I already like him better. So that part of it was definitely cool. Just because I mean, I'm sure that's the whole reason you wrote Shattered Pass was SPD has so much lore and connects to so many different things that there's a few moments of wasted potential. And I think Omega Ranger was definitely one that you were able to shine a better light on, pun intended.
So am I going to watch SPD and be disappointed by the Omega Ranger?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, Colin ruined it for you. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that.
Darn. Okay.
Well, the funny thing about Shattered Pass is it was a complete accident. This story sounds fake, but I'm telling you the truth, okay? So we're scheduled to go up to Big Bear to film our Ninja Storm series, First Ninja. We literally get stormed out the day before. But I'm still ready to go. I still want to film something. And we had a sponsorship with Nerdiest Brands to get some Ranger content. And I was like, man, what can we do? What can we do? And then I had this idea of what if the Omega Ranger is time traveling to stop Draken, and he has the ability, since Sam can, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but Sam can teleport things in the show. What if he's teleporting weapons through time and space and accessing them? And I kind of just like came up with this the night before. I write this script and I pitch it to Sean. I'm going to call it episode 0. And Sean's like, okay, let's go film it. And then here we are now, I don't know, 700,000 views later or something. And now it's our #1 show. But we got stormed out from filming our Ninja Storm series. I make Shattered Pass up the night before. And then it all comes together into this beautiful accident. I'm so grateful it happened. And it just blows my mind how weird the circumstances were behind it.
Well, I don't believe you. I think that was made up.
Yeah, fake news is something we've heard lately. One quick question, just the kind of fan battle in your head. So you mentioned that Sam is able to reach into the Morphin Grid or is able to access different Ranger weapons. There's another character that we've seen in the ever-growing Power Ranger fan film universe that can do the same thing. Who do you personally think would win in a fight? Sam with his powers in Shattered Past or Chrono Ranger from Unworthy?
Well, Chrono has to like physically collect them and wear them. And I think Sam having the ability to upload them, be able to call upon them at once kind of gives them an advantage. Not to mention, we've seen him rewind time, slow down time.
Speed punch.
Super speed punch. I mean, Chrono Ranger is badass. I really like Logan, the character the actor that plays him, and Reyes has also been a really big ally to us as Crimson Vision with graphics and watching our stuff. So love those guys. But I gotta go with Sam because I kind of made him OP on purpose so that he can stand a chance against Draken. Chrono's still like, oh no, it's the Arbiter. Let's go, guys. I think Sam would be like, Omega Access Saba, Omega Access Dragon Dagger. And then he'll morph and like charge into it. So I got to go with Omega, but I love and respect the Chrono Ranger. And it's funny that Blurred and I talked about those two characters and the similarities. Because I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I pitched Shattered Pass to him. And he was like, dude, that sounds a lot like my Chrono Ranger. And I was like, well, mine's coming out first, but we love each other.
In addition to the difference in the way, like you said, you have a power to grab more, so he has to collect them. It almost seems like Chrono could be like the dark version. Like if things didn't go so well, that's who Omega would become, whereas yours is like the bright, shiny hero still.
Yeah, I think Sam, I haven't really explained it very well yet, but you see Sam, he's just kind of doing it just because it's his mission. Mm-hmm. And I really want to dive into the fact, like, why do you feel so obligated to do this? And that would be something we cross roads with in Ep 3 because we find out more about different Sams that have tried this before. But Jackson Brooks is just trying to do the right thing. It's not his problem. He just wants to start a school. Next thing you know, he's saving the universe, turning the bad guy good, like all these things. Like it's the right thing to do. But Sam is more kind of like, it's just my job, but I want to dive into, deep down, yeah, it is your job, but you're a good guy. You're trying to save thousands of Rangers from different timelines. So I think you're totally right. Chrono could be what if something bad happened to Sam, but Blurred and I spoil each other's stories to each other all the time. So I already know a lot about Chrono Ranger. And I love Blurred, love Unworthy, respect the hell out of all of them. But I gotta go with my boy Sam.
I would too. I absolutely would too.
Even though I still want
a Chrono Ranger figure.
down the line, I think it'd be really cool once we see more of the powers that Sam has. If there was some artist that could just draw the two of them together with a lot of the other Ranger weapons, kind of in a team up fashion, that'd be really cool if somebody, in the next year before, let's say June 2021, just putting a rough, time on things, just a random month out there. If that's something that could be possible or be done before then. If you know anybody, Colin, let me know, because I'm a little hard pressed at times to find somebody.
You might not see what he's doing here. What he's doing here is trying to make this a job now that I have to do.
What? I just put an idea out in the world, and if the spark ignites, then Mockingjay.
I feel like we know an artist that's in my square on my phone right now.
I mean, who knows? I mean, he's just saying things, and words have no meaning on a square on a phone.
On a planet under the Cape of War. Exactly. We eat juice boxes, and we team up with guys on desert planets. But
let me
guys.
put a pin in that and go to a chat question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer it, but Mark wants to know, in terms of Bloodline, what are we looking forward to in terms of storytelling? So I don't know if you can talk about that yet.
Who is this Mark guy who happens to have a green Psycho Rangers picture? That's odd. Huh.
Green Psycho Ranger is a very popular character.
Yeah, he keeps stealing the show in my show. No, Mark's great. I've known Mark for a long time, like since high school, I think. And I hit him up to be in Shattered Past, and he just has been the best teammate, and I love him to death. And he also is a scene stealer, and he blows me up all the time. But I'm sorry, what was the question? I got distracted by Mark.
He wants you to spoil Bloodline storytelling stuff.
I will say this: it is definitely a sequel to In Space, and like way years later. But DJ is writing it with, I think, Christopher Cam Lee. They're both writing it, and they know their stuff the way we know our stuff. So they're picking and pulling little things from different seasons, and it's really cool. It's really different. Definitely has a Star Wars In Space vibe to it.
Right.
And
which is funny
cool.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's funny because I'm going. You shut up. I'm the host here. At Ranger Stuff, I interviewed Christopher Kamen Lee, and I one of the things I asked him was like, why do you think In Space is as popular as it is, or did as well as it did? And he was basically, we ripped off Star Wars. Star Wars is great. Everybody loves Star Wars. Everything good about In Space is Star Wars. It's just Star Wars. So it's funny that it's like now it's his turn to write something. He's like, let's do Star Wars. That'll work. and he's not wrong. I mean, if that's what works for In Space, then keep it going.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was really cool seeing. I mean, it was my first time meeting Chris and hanging out with Chris, and
he's a wild dude.
Yeah, but then he'll just go boom, Andros mode, and it was really cool to watch. And then I was dying. I was very dehydrated and sunburnt. I'm a very white guy, and we were in the sun for a long time. And then after I'd like do my fight scene, and then it'd be like cut, and I'd be like, he puts his shoulder on me. He goes, "You're a champ, man. You're a champ." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do another one."
You might not know this, and even if you do, you might not be able to say anything. But with the Bloodline, I think Justin Nemo, they've said he's going to be attached to it at some point. One of my favorite Rangers of all time, Selwyn Ward. We know that there's a character playing his son. What do you think the chances are we might see Selwyn Ward show up as TJ?
I made a post about DJ playing his son. It had the father and son like logo that I do because we do lots of family stuff. Yeah. And Selwyn came and commented on the Crimson Vision post of it with this face. For flirty, smirky face.
Right.
So I mean, we're on his radar for sure. And
Right.
they were at the end of Shattered Past too, and that one got shared around by Tracy from In Space and Nemo and Chris. Like, so like we're making rounds and getting eyes on us. So I think the more real Rangers we get involved, the more other real Rangers will get involved. And Selwyn going like, "Hello, son." I think that'd be a really dope scene. So I think it's possible.
Even if you couldn't get him to physically be there, if he's on a screen or something, like that'd be just as whatever you could do, but would make me very happy.
Exactly. And then I'd be like, "Hey, can you say something for Shattered Past real quick?" Just real quick.
Sam, watch out! Just something. Anything to use. Like, all right, this is the dialogue he gave us. It was on a quick TikTok. We're just gonna roll with it. All right, guys, let's just. we're changing the story with that. Speaking of the different,
get him on Cameo. It has the little thing on the bottom.
Oh yeah. Just cut it out, crop it.
Before you say what you're going to, Big Doug, we're coming up on about an hour, so we don't want to keep Colin too long. So we're going to start wrapping up. So ask what you're going to ask, but keep in mind we're getting towards the end here.
It's funny you mentioned wrapping up. I was going to say, how do you wrap all of those different elements into your stories and keep everything like straight? Are you looking at wikis? Are you rewatching episodes? Like, what are you doing to keep all of the different little Easter eggs and timelines together, regardless of what project you're working on writing?
I have a rule where whenever I write the next step, I always have a master story arc, but whenever I write my next episode, I watch everything we've done leading up to it. So it keeps me smart. I'm like, man, I could solve that plot line, or I could turn it into a new plot line. So I rewatch everything we've done. But I'm really lucky where the Shattered Past crew, especially, they are Ranger experts. Kay, who does the theme song, DJ, Mark, Dade, everyone in that crew really knows their stuff. And I bounce ideas, I think, off Dade the most because of Time Bro. And we just, I don't know, he's a writer too. So I have a really great team to kind of have my back. And if I forget something, then they usually pick me up. But also reviewing my previous work that I've written allows me to either expand on some things or close things off. So, and also the big space we have in between the release of projects, my mind will go, straight Jackson Brooks for a while. Like I'm getting ready to be Jackson Brooks this weekend. So I got my hair cut, I'm growing out my beard, and I'm wearing red. Yep. Little things that get me ready for it. But then sometimes I go Sam mode and I'm watching SPD or whatever. Each episode's going to be a different season. And this next one's like Zeo, Mighty Morphin. So I'm going back and watching these, and that kind of helps me keep things in check too. But I would say reviewing my work and then my team really, really helps me too.
It's awesome. I guess my last question before we wrap up, I hesitate to ask this because it's been weirdly controversial in the Ranger fandom. Not about you specifically, but I'm gonna phrase it as best I can to not cause controversy. There's been a rumor going around that Toei is splitting from Hasbro, and that means there may not be any more live-action TV shows of Power Rangers after Dino Fury. This is a rumor. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm not trying to argue that. But let's assume that it's true and this happened. We hope it doesn't, but let's assume that it happened. I feel like there's a huge opportunity for people like you and Unworthy to fill that void. I mean, you're already filling in gaps of storytelling that wasn't done, and you're already adding to the lore that we already had. But I feel like this isn't so much a question, I realize. This is me saying, hey, if there's no more Power Rangers in a year or two, it's your job to keep making Power Rangers. and I guess what I'm getting at is, do you think if it goes that way, would you be more inclined to maybe create an original Ranger team or original Ranger character rather than drawing on past history? If it's like, hey, there's no more new teams, do you think you might be inclined to create a new team yourself? Because I would love to see that from you.
I have a lot of storylines that I'd like to close up before then, but Blurred messaged me. He's like, you realize we're going to be the last Power Ranger series going on if this ends.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, no pressure. So I would trim my projects down to one cool one and use all the different Ranger suits to assemble a very weird Crimson verse team or something, so we can have the most Power Ranger action that is already ready. And the best of the best of what I've learned and accumulated over the past 2 years of doing this. Right. The dream is to have my own Ranger team, of course, but I think I'd rather keep diving into establishing the really weird multiverse that Blurred and I are well, I mean, he started it, and I'm just kind of piggybacking on. Like we always say that he's the Arrow and I'm the Flash of the multiverse. You know?
Oh,
So,
we'll see, but we all know which of those shows is better. So,
well, so my answer is yes. I'd love to do an original.
wait, real quick to be clear,
team.
I like all that other stuff too. I'm not
Yes.
I'm just being shady.
Yeah, we joke like that all the time too.
If-
So yes, an original team would be amazing, but I think I'd like to build a core team that I can just do one show with.
Right.
And then also I'd like to imagine that Boom would go, hey, maybe we should get into the live action game. Well, these guys already have, you know, a fandom established. Let's throw some money at them and make this even better. So that's my dream. And I think one thing that I'm working towards and the energy I'm putting out in the universe is either Sam with my face or Jackson Brooks become canon in the comics. And I'm putting that out there to every interview. That's the dream.
Weirder things have happened. I mean, Mia and Bruno from MMPR Toys got to be on a cover, and they're not they're just toy reviewers, you know. So it could happen.
Yeah.
Well, we've been at about an hour now. We could talk longer. Maybe you come back on another time in the future. This was great. I have pages of questions and comments left, but it was just so much fun talking to you. I don't think we can.
I know, yeah.
Them all.
Dude,
thank
I
you for everybody.
can't believe it's been an hour.
I know.
I know.
Yeah. But thank you for everyone that's been here live in chat, and I'm going to put it up later. So thank you for watching the rewatch. For people that are new to you, maybe don't know where to find you, or just maybe you want to push them in a certain direction, Colin, what is the best way people could watch you, find you? What do you want them to see?
I'm the most active on my Instagram at Colin the Blur, and you can find us on Nerdbot Studios, Crimson Vision Studios, and I pop up in random stuff too, like Unworthy and Teen Titans Project. And there's a lot coming out soon, so just stay tuned and also catch up on our past work to see how far we've come.
There you go. Sounds good. I advise that. And I've seen all of your Ranger stuff and some of your DC stuff, and I am inspired to watch the rest of those Reverse Flashes that you guys were talking about because it sounds awesome. Yes. And I love time travel, and it's good time travel, and it's Flash. So yeah, I gotta finish those up. So I guess that's it for now for us. I have been Gazbot.
I've been the Big Dog Defender,
and I'm Colin Bass.
Yeah, and Colin, to the power.
To the power.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
To the power. Thank you, guys.